Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your June 2021 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, this is a big month for you, as I'm sure some of you know, because there is going to be a solar eclipse in your sign. And I will get to that in a second or a minute. I want to talk about leading up to that point where we begin the month with the sun in your sign, we have Venus in your sign, and there was something else, and I can't think. Oh, yeah. Your ruler Mercury is in your sign, but has just begun a retrograde. So I have posed this question to Gemini Sun and Rising sign individuals before, but I will do so again. Do you have specific experiences with the Mercury retrograde that might contradict the typical, warnings or whatever? I don't want to even call it warnings, like it's so ominous, but the precautions or that are suggested. Do you find that you're luckier during this time, that things go smoother for you, or how does it affect you, or do you not feel it at all? If you have any specific experiences that might be different than what we would expect, I'd love to hear them in the comment section below. But there's a lot of this energy in your sign. You may feel quite energized having the sun in your sign. And then on the second, Venus goes into Cancer, which is your second house. So now we're talking about this area that is your finances, and Venus is the ruler of that house. So Mars is still in Cancer. So Mars has preceded Venus in that second house. You may have been really hustling to make money, and now you're starting to reap the rewards of that. And that somehow is benefiting you financially. On the 10th, there is a solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Gemini. It's interesting because in the tarot, the 19th, the card numbered 19 in the major arcana is the Sun card. So that is a card that is associated with success and a lot of positive vibes. The number 19 is a very interesting number because it's a beginning and an ending. And being that there is this Mercury retrograde happening at the time of the solar eclipse, that could affect something to do with the situation. Because this solar eclipse is occurring in the first house, this is almost like a rebirth of sorts. But as this is happening, the way that you see yourself is still under revision. So I think that I was looking for other astrologers to see what their take is on this, like online, and I just got, I just went down this rabbit hole with a mundane astrological prediction about what's happening in the United States in June, and it's like, whoa. I don't even, I'm not going to repeat it, but it was pretty intense. But anyway, what I would say is that whatever, usually we talk about starting something new at the time of an eclipse, but an eclipse is a little bit different than a new moon because it's almost cosmically ordained. So it might be that you experience new opportunities in your life, Gemini, but you may have to be flexible because some of the things may change at some point. Or maybe by the time that whatever this is manifests, it will be after Mercury goes direct. And I think that that's a greater possibility because anything any seeds that are being sown at this time, maybe you will see the results of these later in the year. There is going to be a full moon in this sector in December, very close to the solstice time. So, which is of course before Christmas. So, perhaps in the next 6 months, you can look to some of these gradual changes in your life. And I say gradual because things don't just naturally change overnight. But for some of you, if you have been, stagnating for a while, you may just feel like you want to break free. So you may welcome sudden changes as well. And of course, there can be some things that change very suddenly, but we're talking about massive changes for some people. It's all a possibility, It all depends on, because I've been experiencing, I had a solar eclipse on my birthday, and I don't think my life has changed all that much at all. So I know that things can change at a moment's notice, and there still is time for some of these things to change in my life and in yours as well. So that is happening, and that's going to be a very significant time. So happy birthday to those of you who are born in June. And on the 11th, the day after the solar eclipse, Mars goes into Leo. And this is a friendly angle to you. This is the third house that you happen to rule. So there's an extra element there of resonance. And Mars in the third is very forceful about communication. Now, when I say forceful, that sounds bad. It could just simply be passionate. It could be driven, ambitious. Maybe there is some conflict with neighbors or with siblings. These are both people connected to the third house. I think aunts and uncles and cousins are associated with it. And I would say, especially if you have cousins that are like siblings to you, you're like brothers or sisters to you. You might not have a problem with having, really being real with these people. And like if something they have said or done has bothered you, you might be quite aggressive about it and even confrontational. As always, when Mars is transiting a house, you have to look at yourself, because even if there is something that somebody else is doing and in an antagonistic sort of way, Gemini, you don't have to take the bait, because to me, a lot of times Mars is like that bait, that kind of like if somebody else is trying to instigate some drama and, you're acting like, oh, that's terrible, but you're not acknowledging that you have a choice, that you can resist the temptation to just go off the rails, and you can choose to respond in a more measured approach. The problem with having this kind of transit is that you may feel justified. And when people feel like that sense of righteous indignation, that might be, absolutely your prerogative, they can be like excessively aggressive. There's a difference between being assertive and aggressive, and being able to really suss that out is so important. Mars in the third house, to me, can even be like, physically, if you are learning how to like do something physical, like maybe weightlifting or working out and you're taking some kind of a training course, maybe even with something to do with a competitive sport, like a coach of a team, maybe, and you're the teacher, the mentor, or whatnot. On the 20th, the sun goes into Cancer, so the sun is going into that area of finances, and that could be very good for your finances, actually, because the sun has a creative and healing force and allows you to be very positive about this. So it lends negative, or I was going to say negative, positive energy in an area that is really very tangible and practical. And sometimes we need to feed these ideas that we have, and maybe this is like your chance if you feel like you want to take pride in your ability to attract money. So like I think of the law of attraction in that sense, where the person is bringing themselves into the equation. And I think that's one of the main parts of the law of attraction, is that you're not just looking at the situation of your financial reality, but you're also looking at your attitudes and how you think about things and all of that good stuff. And, the sun is very aspirational. So there may be this part of yourself that is really committed to experiencing abundance, and you're claiming it, you're feeling worthy, because the sun can be your healthy ego and things like that. On the 24th, there's a full moon at 3 degrees of Capricorn, and so that is going to be I guess your 8th house, it looks like. I think for a lot of you, because it's only at 3 degrees, that it will be more a lot of people's 7th houses, unless you're really born at the beginning of Gemini or have an early degree of Gemini rising. But for many of you, this may actually fall in the relationship sector. I will just mention for those people, this doesn't have to be a bad thing if your relationship is intact. If there's something going on with your relationship and you can tell that there's some kind of thing and you don't know what it is, this could bring out a secret into the open. But if that makes you quake in your boots, Gemini, that you shouldn't let it, because it's really a blessing, because what happens is that it puts everything out on the table when you know what is going on, and then you can actually make an informed decision, not a deluded one. Actually, I didn't put this down, which was really, I've already done a few readings, or a couple of them, about the Mercury retrograde until the 20, I think I said that Mercury was retrograde, but not that it's going direct on June 22nd. I got to type that one down here. And I think luckily I've only done one of these, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, so on the 22nd, your ruler Mercury goes direct in the first house. So now you're going to proceed with your being able to go forward. So I would say that from the 22nd onward, Gemini, you may start to feel a sense of your life speeding up, things flowing better, because as I record this, Mercury is already in its shadow, and I've already had some cluster Fs that have something to do with technology, namely my cell phone bill getting screwed up and all that. And I was like, okay. And I think it was right on the day that the shadow took place. And I'm like, oh no, please. Can't I just for once recently just have an uneventful Mercury retrograde. So anywho, that was like kind of interesting. I heard that when a planet stations retrograde or direct, that it's a very powerful time. And so it is possible that because it was stationing retrograde that day, and that means that it's going to hold that degree for a while. I think it's like 24 Gemini as I record this on, what's the date today? The 17th of May. So that degree, that 24 degrees, and then when it goes direct at 11 degrees, I think, that's going to stay for a while because that's the slowing down of the planet when it retrogrades. So anyway, it's supposed to be very powerful, and that makes sense, probably because it stays at that degree. So for the rest of you, that full moon will actually be falling in the 8th house, very early degrees, first few degrees. And that can be really, really intense because you're a Gemini. It can be especially intense because you might not want to deal with all of that icky stuff inside of your psyche. And somehow it gets, I was going to say, regurgitated. The word that came into my mind was regurgitated, but that's not really it. Whatever it means to puke, having it puke up. And because of the Mercury retrograde, that's even bringing up that the past to you. But this can be a clearing because this is even though this is it's not an eclipse, it's a full moon, it still is an opportunity to discover things about yourself that you were not consciously aware of. This is a great time for letting go, having insights that lead you to let go of obsessions and things of that nature. On the 27th, Venus goes into Leo, and that there you go again, another planet in that 3rd house. And this is only June, so it's really, these planets are going into Leo. It's not that unusual, but I'm just saying that now you have Venus going into that 3rd house. So there might be some sort of gain through the internet, through any kind of blog, or maybe training that you're getting. You're finally starting to pay off for you. If you're single, Gemini, you might find it helpful to go and join a dating service that is obviously reputable and safe, but something that you can find love in a different sort of way. This can be like that social media or the social networking sites. And this can also be finding love from siblings. I notice I didn't say with siblings. This is not, well, I'm not going to make any jokes. But no, through your siblings. But you've had, Mars with having problems with your siblings, and then Venus here, that could be money. So maybe if there's an inheritance, duh. The full moon in the 8th house can be an inheritance issue, maybe coming to the light. Sometimes these people, doesn't mean that somebody has just died, although, there's always people dying in this world. But I'm just saying that If something has come to light of a material nature, the eighth house is a money house. It's shared resources. A full moon can shed light on this. And then you're already, I would say that this is something that you already knew about, and that's why you have already had this friction with siblings. Although, who knows, maybe the friction doesn't begin until after this full moon, because you discover that somebody's trying to pull the wool over your eyes, or, kind of cut you out of the will or something, and you get, Venus can be money, you can get what you deserve. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that you enjoyed this, Gemini. If you would like a personal reading, I have been promoting my double readings because they are a good deal financially. And if you're interested in seeing the kind of readings I have to offer, you can click on the link below. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.